Well, that's what I'll say is that on top of the way that Mac Jones played, which I do want to dig into, this was a situation where the entire Patriots offseason was on display, even just with their offense, right?
Yeah.
Kendrick Bourne had a really nice day. Ramondre Stevenson had a really big day on the ground. Trent Brown was back, which I
Yes.
think really made a difference for them. And I do want to get into that. And then obviously Mac Jones. So you have all of these, and then Hunter Henry had a really nice day.
Yes.
So all of these pieces that they added this offseason, the vision for what this team could be, I think was on display today. And a couple of weeks ago, you were as enthusiastic about them as really any other team in the AFC. And I was like, I just don't know what their ceiling looks like offensively. But with the way that he played today and with the way that things are really falling into place on several different levels, offensive line, quarterback play, and play calling.
Yes.
Just that he was yanking, McDaniels was pulling all the right levers today. And I think there are a couple different examples stood out. The first drive that they had a 1st and 20, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe it was the second drive. They had a 1st and 20 after they got a holding call. And he called an end around to Kendrick Bourne. And they got back on track. They had so many good back on track plays today.
Yes.
They had a 3rd and 13 completion to Bolden on a screen on a touchdown drive to get them back down inside the 10. Just all of that stuff today. They built on those Bourne end arounds. They ran 3 of them, and then they ran the screen complement off of it. Just all of this nonsense combined with their players playing well. And I say nonsense in a good way.
Yeah.
I mean, just deep in the bag, but in ways that make sense. Like Clowney was crashing down. They were getting chunk plays off of it. So you're seeing it all start to come together, and their defense continues to play really well.
Yep.
So it just leads me to think, like, what could this Patriots team be in this muddy AFC? Because if they're this team, then they can give anybody problems.
And that was why a few weeks ago I was pretty high on them. And it was going into that show because we were like, okay, well, who are the top 5? Because you and I were just like, let's try and figure this out, like by talking about it. And I was like, I think I actually do like the Patriots. It was more like, it wasn't me talking myself into it. It was actually like, they kind of check a lot of boxes. One thing we've talked about many times is they win in different ways and how they've hung with different types of teams, different styles that get thrown at them, and they just kind of battle in every game. And it's one of those things where even the offense wasn't maybe as impressive. It was fine, but it wasn't as impressive before. But they were doing the right things and they were hurt, so it was kind of like, it's going to go up. Like, I was like, all right, I'm more optimistic. I was very bullish on that. And the defense, obviously, it's such a great point to talk about all those signings. Like, Matt Judon had a great game on defense as well. And the Josh McDaniels kind of clinic. I'm so glad he gave him the shout out, too, because it's like, today was an absolute clinic on how to neutralize good edge rushers. Screens, like you said, draws. They had a couple really nice lead draws. All those end arounds, that's taking advantage of edges not playing their rules. Because it's just like a naked does. Just
it's
like
a Clowney beater.
That's Clowney beater. It really is. It really is. But they were getting everybody with them. Like they got Myles Garrett on one. And, but that's what they're doing is now these edge rushers aren't like every down they could just go, whoop, I'm going right up the field. Now they actually have to play. Like they actually have to think. And that's the worst thing you want people to do, right? You don't want your players thinking. You do, but you don't. You want them being very instinctual and playing fast. And also, like, shout out to N'Keal Harry. Like, great blocking today. Like, he was like, I mean, his job today was to set screens. Like, he was like a guy coming off the bench in basketball and just setting screens on the edges. Like, but he was doing like a great job on them. So that's why they were getting all those outside runs, because they're just attacking these good players like in unusual ways. And that's the offense. And I know Mac Jones played very well. I mean, he's playing efficient football, and even like he's had
good, man.
I know he had the go route. I want to say it was a third down. Yep,
it was to Myers. Yep.
And on that one, that was what I was waiting to see from Mac Jones. Was like, I could tell he's efficient. Every ball goes the right spot. But it was like, all right, I want to see him push it a little more. But then it was like, you could tell today, like against some of those pressures, he was like, I'm being aggressive. I'm not even going to read this play out. I'm going to just take my one-on-one, and I'm going to make him let him get a chance to go make a play. And they did. And It's like, oh, it's cool that he's not just I'm always safe and I have to be, everything has to be perfect and safe. He's like, no, he was throwing guys open. And when you have a rookie quarterback doing that with really good pieces around him and a really good game plan, it's like, this is what it looks like. And I haven't talked about the defense because you can tell they were just on top of their shit. Like every formation, just any motion that the Browns did, all those Patriots DBs were just communicating. I have a couple of examples, but it was really, really an impressive team performance from the Patriots today.
The most impressive thing to me was even when Mac Jones was pushing the ball down the field, it was instantaneous. That goal ball he hits Jacoby Myers, he hit his back foot and he let it go. The corner out he threw to Hunter Henry,
Yes.
that was just a beautiful ball. He had several of those today. And you mentioned, you look at some of the stats I want to look at. It was 16.2 completion percentage over expectation, which I think was the highest mark in the league today.
Felt like it.
The lack of pressure was huge.
Yeah.
He was only pressured on 5 of 25 dropbacks, which again, that offensive line coming into form is going to be really important for them just being able to play the way that they want to. You mentioned not thinking. And this is to me kind of one of the coolest things about watching what he's done this year. He is thinking. And he's thinking in a really good way. There was a play at the 2-minute warning. It was 2nd and 11. And he walked up and he called an alert and he checked it. And I think the terminology said gold grease is what he checked into. And it was a 4-man box with 2 linebackers, 4-man front with 2 linebackers.
Probably a run to the left.
And it was a run to the right.
Oh,
and
dang.
It was a run to the right. And I think it was just a duo run.
Yeah.
And they got a nice gash on 2nd and 11. And that to me is so emblematic of what that offense is for young quarterbacks. Because I think that there's a gap between what that offense asked their quarterback to do and what other offenses asked their quarterback to do. Remember, I was talking to Ryan Fitzpatrick this summer, and we were talking about when he went into that Patriot-style offense when he was in Houston with George Godsey and with Bill O'Brien. He said it kind of opened his mind to how much control a quarterback could have over an offense because the quarterback controls everything.
Mm-hmm.
As the Shanahan type of offense becomes more prevalent in the league, that offense minimizes the quarterback impact at the line of scrimmage. You don't control everything. It's a way for the play caller to kind of play through the quarterback. So Mac Jones is really the first quarterback we've seen since Tom Brady grow up in this New England offense that's kind of designed around him, and we've watched somebody develop in it. And I think it's going to help him become a better quarterback than some of these other guys might have a chance to because he literally controls everything. He's checking into the right runs. He's 8 games in his career. Like, that's a really, really big deal. And I just think that offense gives its quarterback a unique ability to do that in ways that a lot of the other offenses du jour in the NFL just don't. And I think it's going to help him in the long run.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Right in August they were doing it, and you could tell he messed up a couple. Like, just watching it on TV, you could tell he messed up because you could see McDaniels going like, doing the whole talk thing. Yeah. Obviously, no one listening to the podcast saw what I just did there, but I was mouthing stuff right there. But I just realized that. But this is so good. This is why you want to watch so much of this pre-snap stuff with these guys, is how much that gets put on them. That's why I'm very optimistic about Trevor Lawrence. It's because he's the same way. He's very in control of their offense. That's because they were just like, hey, this guy's good. Let's let him do it. This Patriots way, it's like you said, for better or for worse. Everything. The mic point.
Yep.
Obviously, the motions and everything. And why I say the mic point, some offenses that's an old school kind of thing, is having the quarterback do that, where they're identifying who the mic is for the whole offense. Usually the offensive line more, and running back and tight ends and protection. So they were doing that right away. And there was a play, I can't remember if it was preseason or it was in September, but he had a play where he had to swap the receivers because they were on the wrong side. He got the motion, and the whole time you could see he's looking at the play clock, kills the play, repoints the mic, brings the motion back in, and runs the play. It was just like a normal handoff, but it was like, it's tough playing quarterback in the NFL, and that's not even a pass.
In that offense.
In that offense, especially. There's no training wheels. That's the best way to put it. There's no cheap RPOs. There's no, they have a couple gadget plays, but it's like everything's a real play where he has to read it out. And I love the point you brought up with the pressure stuff, too, because that's what's been so impressive with Mac Jones. It's like his internal clock is like perfect already. It's wound perfectly already as a rookie. So like he sometimes is so calm in the pocket where he's doing the Tom Brady dead legs and then throwing. And then there's other plays where he's throwing the ball out quick. And like, it's like his feel in the pocket is exceptional. It really is, especially at a young age. But he like just always knows how much clock he has in the pocket. Like every play, even stuff he can't see, just he has that feel, that spatial awareness. And it's really impressive to watch, like play after play after play, different types of routes. It's not like he's just running a quick game and just getting the ball out right away. He is, because he can, but then he's running play action and he's running drop back stuff. It's impressive to watch a guy who's started 9 games doing this stuff. And even if he doesn't have that godlike arm talent, he does, as far as arm strength, he does have incredibly rare accuracy, and he has an incredible feel for the pocket. So his bar is always going to be high. He's going to, whatever you run for him, he's going to do it to the fullest. And it's just up to the players to execute from there.
Do you think people made a mistake about having him in that pecking order, in that hierarchy among the rookie quarterbacks? Or do you still worry that his ceiling is lower and we shouldn't jump to those sorts of conclusions? Because I am a little bit torn about that right now.
I'm a little torn because I don't want to sound like a hater right now, but this is what we expected a little bit out of him. It being a smarter, everything being quicker. Not to this extent.
It's not. He's playing better than ever could have hoped.
But those other guys have played like 7 games. Like, yeah, but that's the thing. This is the best system. He was picked 15. All these other guys are on garbage ass situations. It's like, so yeah, in 2 years, let's talk about it. Like, this is like his situation is really good. This is the best path he's been on. He could be on. I don't know. I felt like I was graded him how this was, but this is ridiculous what he's doing. I just think his situation is so much better than all the other rookie quarterbacks.
I agree with that. Here's my thinking behind this. My concern about a guy built like him, just with his skill set, is that you need to win with your mind early. And he wasn't going to have solutions and answers to the test. When you can't be right athletically or with your arm in the way that we've seen some of these other young guys be, or with Burrow, where it was a really strange situation where he was just running his college offense, I think it's difficult to be young and, again, just have solutions to problems when you don't have that athletic profile, because it takes a while to develop the upstairs part of it. You see guys that are 10 years into the league can play like that and dominate games, but it's because they've seen everything. It's because they have this backlog of 10 years of football. He doesn't have that, and he's still winning that way. And I just didn't think that was going to be possible because time was such a factor. So if he's going to be able to play like this, then even if there's a diminished ceiling athletically, he's still capable of a lot. So he just overcome the shortcomings I thought he was going to have so much faster than it seemed like any quarterback could, because I thought that time and experience was the most important factor. And if he's able to kind of throw those out, then maybe we made a mistake.
Yeah, that's a guy that, again, it was when I watched him, I was a hater when I started. Watching the Bama stuff, he's got great receivers. It's the easiest offense ever. Look at all these RPOs. Then you watch him and you're like, holy shit, this guy doesn't miss a throw. And that's why it was like, okay, if you have accuracy translates. That's the best way I could put it. It translates no matter what you run around it, and it raises the bar of what that quarterback is capable of. And it's just, oh man, this is hard because it's like I want to talk out both sides of my mouth because it's like I love what he does. Like it's incredible what he's doing right now at such a young age. It's just that those other guys just have that upside, and that's always just gonna be hard for me to just go, oh, this, that they could reach that point. Yeah, but it's like it's really, really impressive because he doesn't have to win with his legs ever already. Like in the fact that he can find an answer. The other thing we can about him that's like pretty awesome, like that I just love too, is his competitiveness. And this is why I think in the offseason, when the combine process leading to the draft, I think the coaches, we talked about before, but I think the coaches interviewed him like, this dude's a competitive psychopath. He looks like a nice kid and everything like that. They had to play a couple of weeks ago where he's screaming at Josh McDaniels. He's MFing him because they had to burn a timeout. And Josh McDaniels, of all people, who's a pretty intense coach, was going like, hey, dude, calm down. Like, please, calm down. Like, you're okay. Even today, he had that screen that got batted down by Myles Garrett, batted it down. He's like just pissed. He's like slapping his hands. He's going nuts. He's mad at himself. So I could see this guy just like he's going to always be working this way, which is really, really cool.